Hello everyone. Hello and very warm welcome to Internet Vikings Expert Online. My name is Sophia. I am the Digital Marketing Manager at Internet Vikings, and I'll be your host for today. And I'll be joined shortly by our special guest, Alina Andronuk, Project Manager at Internet Vikings. Welcome to the show, Alina. Hello.
Hi, Sophia. Thank you for having me. Happy to join.
Very nice to have you here. And to tell you a bit more about Alina's background, Alina is an experienced project manager and proven customer satisfaction expert with the deep passion and curiosity about technology. Taking care of customers and processes for Internet Vikings since early 2019, she has an extensive understanding of all the challenges projects might face and how to overcome them. And today she'll share her expertise on the importance of process-driven process management with us. But before we begin, I'd like to tell you a bit about our live streams and what you can expect if you're joining me for the first time today. To enrich and ultimately grow our community, we at Internet Vikings believe in sharing information. And as the result, we build this platform for our listeners to tune in every week for a couple of minutes and learn from our experts about different elements of the iGaming world. If you have been tuning in weekly, we hope you have found our content interesting and informative. And if you have missed an episode or if you're joining for the first time, you can find all of our recordings on the Internet Vikings YouTube channel and also LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram pages. So, without further ado, let's jump right into our interview. And I have a first question to you, Alina. So nowadays, there is a lot of information available on the internet about effective management. As someone who is directly involved in the field, could you share your insights and answer the question? Who is a project manager? What is a project management as the process? And what does your day to day job description entail specifically in this position?
Okay, to start with, project management is like very complex term and that you cannot describe like in a couple of minutes. So just to give you a brief understanding of what the project management is and who is the project management manager, that is the person who is leading the project from the moment of its initialization to completion, making sure that everything goes smoothly and everyone is involved. That meaning that we're communicating with all the key stakeholders, including the clients, the delivery team, the company management, and etc. As for the second part of your question, regarding the specifics of work and daily tasks, there are quite a lot of them, and I would mention just a few. The main ones, as for me. So the first point would be communication. We're having a lot of communication, and sometimes, it feels like we're managing not the process, not the project, but managing the chat or the email, because we're talking a lot to everyone. But in current realities, I believe that it is very important that everyone stays well informed, especially since we're still working mostly remotely nowadays. Communication is the key to great cooperation and making sure that everyone is on the same page and well informed. That should, of course, be priority in terms of communication. So the second part that I would like to mention is the administrative and the operational tasks. Of course, we still have to do reporting, still have to be working with other tasks, with task management, grooming the backlog, making sure that no blockers appear for the team to be delivering, and everything like this. So the next point that I would like to mention is conflict resolution. It's actually very crucial to understand that conflict should never be a blocker. Conflict should always be seen as the way for development and for improvement. In this case, we should be able to transform the conflict situation into the productive communication. So when we agree on something and we have developed, that's it. And of course, risk management is also worth mentioning. That is what project managers should do. firstly, of course, risk assessment should be done so that we know what risks could appear and what we should be prepared for. Making sure that when the risks come, we're not surprised, but we are ready for them to be minimized or be transformed into opportunities. So that is also taking quite a lot of time. That's it.
Oh my God, so
Yeah.
many described so many things, and I was just like sitting,
Just
and it
to
was
keep
in
in
my
mind, it's only a few of them.
okay, okay, got it, got it. And I was like in my head, I was like, okay, this position is most likely to have a burnout, like because you're literally doing everything. Talking about like some difficulties, what are the greatest challenges you face daily in this role? Like, I don't know, the biggest ones. I understand that actually entire JD is quite a challenge, but
Of
the
course, it's yeah. Thank you for the question. It's very personal, but as for me, the main thing that I face like a challenge is multitasking. To be honest, I'm not very good at it, and when doing some task, I prefer to be fully involved in it and like to get my head into it very deeply, just to be able to see that from different perspectives and to be able to see all the possible solutions for like for everything. But the specific of work is when another blocker appear for some of the team members, they may reach you asking for help, and in this case you have to switch to another task, so you have to get your head out of task A and get it into task B. So that takes some time, and that is quite a challenge for me for now. But of course, it's matter of practice, and practice makes perfect. Yeah. And the second thing that I would like to mention is maybe mastering the communication skills. This is another area where I should be developing more, because when you're talking to so many stakeholders, you of course dealing with people with different temperaments, who have different mindset, etc. So you should be very flexible in terms of that and using different um, communicational skills would be very helpful, because you should know how the client is doing his business, what is he paying attention to, and the same about all the stakeholders. So that is quite a big deal, and yes, I believe it's always a way for development in this area.
do people get angry very often, or are they more like empathetic towards because they know that you have a lot on your plate?
Of course, the situation when someone is unhappy, they appear, and that's not a secret. It's like a usual work process for all the companies, I believe. But in this case, again, the effective communication should be used. We have to let the client know what was the real reason for his unsatisfaction, and maybe try to explain this our point of view and everything. I believe in even in the worst situation there is a way to solve everything and to make everyone happy.
Yeah, that might be
Hopefully.
true. That's sure. Uh, Actually, we started our like today's conversation, and the heading was the process-driven process management, project management. Could you explain what does it mean to be process-driven, and what does it stands for?
Okay. um, First of all, I would like to mention that a lot of companies and a lot of teams consider them as process driven when they have all the processes documented and when they have passed that information to other employees so that they could follow those processes and instructions. And then they mark their task as done. And yes, hooray, we're process oriented. To be honest, I wouldn't agree with that, because as for me, of course, it's major thing when everything is structured, but in the same time, you should be looking a bit wider at this definition, because um, I would relate process driven mindset to kind of agile mindset, when you're always staying open for new things, when you are constantly learning and adjusting. Because nowadays, our most of businesses should be learning all the time from their mistakes, from their competitors, like what should we do, what shouldn't we do, etc. So that is also the part of being process driven. At the same time, I believe that process driven um, teams and companies, they are coming from people driven ones, because as for me that sounds logically that it's actually the people who are delivering the processes. So yes, that's it. And by the way, I would like to tell that being process driven in the out of work life is also a great thing to do, because that helps you to stay focused, not only on the goal itself, but when you are process driven, you're getting satisfaction from your way to achieving your goal. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I actually do.
that's super great, because you, in this case, you are not comparing yourself to others, you're comparing yourself to the yesterday's version of you, and you see the difference, and you see the perspectives for development, so that's a good thing to follow.
Indeed, it was quite insightful. Thank you for that. Um, I'll think about it later as well, just like to rethink this.
Yeah.
We were also talking about customer satisfaction, and knowing that customer satisfaction is a top priority for Internet Viking teams. How does implementing these principles looks inside the team you manage?
Mhm. Yes, as you have mentioned, we tried to like to nurture these principles on the company level, and of course we do that on the team level. um, we try to manifest that on all the stages of cooperation with the customers and with the team. So the main principles, we have like three of them, I would say. The first one is honest and diligent work. When the client see that you are interested in achieving the same goal as he is, that, as I believe, automatically gives you some loyalty credits, I would say. Because in this case, you can always be sure that the client will recommend you to his friends, to his colleagues, and that he will be staying with you as a satisfied client. And this is actually what we are aiming to achieve. Um, Second point that I would like to tell is that we always aiming to receive feedback on the earliest possible stage. When we're having the feedback from the client, and in case it's not that good and we would like to fix some things, getting feedback on early stage gives us the most important and valuable resource. In this case, it's time, and it's time to do the fixes, to have the again the effective cooperation and communication with the client and with all the key stakeholders. And the final point, I would say that it is constant work on improvements. Since we're talking about being process driven here, constant improvement is like a part of being process driven. Um, but at the same time, we're improving as a team. But at the same time, we're trying to like to nurture the culture of delivery ownership for every team member, because what we are delivering is not the product, it's the service. And when person who did the work is responsible for his job, he basically feels that he is valued, and when person is valued, he is motivated. So that is the key, I believe.
Sounds perfect. As a perfect key. And
Yes.
talking about this small keys and advices, what actually are the advices you could give to every project manager? Because lots of people are project managers, even though they might have like a different position. They still manage lots of projects and processes. So what are the advices you could give them to ensure their team is satisfied, productive, and their customers are satisfied as well?
Yes, so I think that I would give recommendations in terms of the um, team mostly, because I prefer to mostly focus on the team members, as I believe like when the team is well organized and when we're working like cooperating effectively with each other, it's like creating this synergy, and the outcome is really cool, and this like everyone is super happy after the project is finished. So first of all, I would suggest to every project manager not to consider himself or herself as someone who is above all the other team management sorry all the other team members, because even though you have a bit wider range of responsibilities, it still means that you are part of the team, because if there is no team, there is no need for the project manager, right? Yeah, so
Makes sense. Yeah.
that is very important. And another thing that is celebrating the successes, and that should be brought up to the team, like even the minor ones. It should be always something to celebrate, because that motivates people a lot, and they see that, okay, great, we have this result, we're on the right track, and we're doing the great job. So they will keep doing that when they know that that is appreciated. And I would say that the final thing probably would be the recommendation to keep and maintain and cultivate the positive work environment and positive like relationships with all the team members. And of course, we all should have fun when doing the work, right?
Yeah, sounds like it. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate joining you today with me and sharing such insightful information with our listeners. And thank you everyone who tuned in, or if you're catching up on the recording. I hope you found this episode as fascinating as I did. And don't forget to leave your comments and questions. And in the comment sections, I'm sure Alina wouldn't mind answering them, and I'm sure you might have a lot of them. Also, don't forget to subscribe not to miss any further episodes. And now I have an important announcement, because next week I won't be hosting a unique our expert online. We will have our unique questions and answers webinar, Q&A webinar, to answer all your specific questions about the US market. Our goal is to provide you with the information you need to help you comprehend legislation and compliance procedures that will assist you in expanding your business on American soil. So, how do we have all the answers, you ask me? Our experts have already cleared several states' compliance procedures and legislative roadblocks, and built a database of current processes and regulatory information. They are prepared to address all your concerns based on your pre-submitted questions at 15:30 Central European Time or at 9:30 Eastern Time. All you have to do is register. The webinar will happen next Wednesday. How do you register? It's very simple. All you have to do is to find the pinned event announcement in our LinkedIn page and find the registration link. Then fill each field marked with asterisks, click register now. Once registered, you will receive an email with a link to join the webinar, which is happening next Wednesday at 15:30 Central European Time. Click join now to enter the webinar when time comes. And I just wanted to highlight that webinar is free, so everyone who is interested in the topics or in the topic of US compliance and legislative procedures is warmly welcomed. Following registration, you will be directed to our website, where you also may learn more about Internet Vikings and explore our experience and services. So looking forward to see you next week at 15:30 Central European Time or 9:30 Eastern Time next Wednesday. Don't miss our special Q&A webinar with our experts who know quite a lot of information about US compliance and legislations. So see you then next. Have a nice week.